Happy Saturday. Today is Saturday, November 21st, week 47 of 2020. We've had a great week. I hope you have too. Week started on Sunday the 15th, so Zach and I decided to sit and watch a movie. We watched the movie Moneyball, which I hadn't seen before. It's actually quite a bit older movie, and it's about how looking at the statistics and the complementing ways of baseball players and professional baseball, how you could build a winning team without having any star players. It was a great movie. We had a lot of fun. On Monday was my birthday. We went out to dinner that evening, enjoyed that very much. Sunday night, my dad called me wishing me a happy birthday, and we had a nice chat, just talking about all sorts of things going on in life and sharing jokes and laughing and carrying on. While talking with Dad, I asked him about his dad, Grandpa Don. He passed away almost a year before I was born. From the things my dad has told me, I am apparently a lot like him. The stuff that I'm doing with video, with legacy type stuff, is very similar to the types of things that Grandpa Don really liked. In fact, we have some recordings of Grandpa Don when my dad was little, around this time of year, around Thanksgiving. Yeah, I really wish I could have met him. I bet he was a fun guy to be around. My dad said that Grandpa Don also liked to take pictures of sunrises and sunsets. He had a particular interest. Whenever he took pictures, he liked to have someone wearing red in the picture. And I don't know what the story is on that. Dad didn't know what the story is on that either. Apparently there's a lot of pictures of sunrises, sunsets, and people wearing red. Most of the trees outside now are all bare. We've had some pretty strong fall storms come through with the wind and whatnot blowing all the leaves off the trees, so it's looking more and more like winter every day that passes. And of course with that, the daylight is getting shorter. I'm really glad I don't live any closer to any of the poles because I really like sunshine, natural light. The closer you get to the poles, of course, the shorter the winter days are. Also, I guess I wouldn't really want to be any closer to the equator either, because then you don't have the variation of season, and I really like how the seasons change. On Tuesday, a friend posted that their, I think, 8-year-old son looked like he was a little upset, and she asked him what was going on, and he said, let me get this right, he said, "I'm tired of all the buffoonery in this house." And I thought, an 8-year-old saying buffoonery. In fact, I don't think I've heard buffoonery since I heard my grandfather say buffoonery. So yeah, there's lots of words like that. I should probably dig up some of those and use those as like word of the day or word of the week type things. Buffoonery. It's, acting like a buffoon, which is kind of idiotic, I guess. I should probably look that up before I start talking about it here, shouldn't I? Somebody also posted on Tuesday about these drug commercials. I hope these don't stay this way till the end of time. The drug commercials are just ridiculous, especially the disclaimers that they have on them. It's almost as if they're saying, don't take this drug unless your condition without it is a fate worse than death. In which case, go ahead and take it because this might just kill you. It's ridiculous. On Wednesday, I came across Anniversary Edition of Paul Simon's Graceland album, and on one of the tracks, he talked about the song Graceland, all of the creative process that went into creating that song. It was very interesting to listen to. He talks about the different elements of it, from the drums to the chords that he went through there. He worked with, it was a collaborative process that he did with several other musicians, so he ended up putting in pieces in there that he probably wouldn't have thought of before because they weren't really a part of his his personal creative process. The other thing that I found most fascinating about him talking about that, he didn't have any lyrics for it at the beginning. Thought he was using the word Graceland in the lyrics as sort of a placeholder of lyrics. Then he realized he just kept singing that Graceland in there, and then he decided he was going to add some lyrics to it and actually decided to make a trip to Graceland. He had recently been down in, I believe, the Louisiana, New Orleans type area, working on one of the other tracks that was on that album. He took a trip up to Graceland and made that the lyrics for his song. It's one of the best traveling songs there is out there. It's one of my favorite albums. The whole album I absolutely love. Of course, maybe that has something to do with the time of my life that I was exposed to that album, because I was just fresh out of high school, in college. Someone had suggested that album and I loved it, and I had it on cassette tape. Yes, back in the days of cassette tapes. Pretty much wore out that tape driving here and there and everywhere during that first year of college. Thursday I had a dentist checkup. Happy to know that I don't have any cavities or any crowns or anything that needs to be messed with, at least not for another 6 months. I had just these weird things that pop into my head. While the hygienist was working on my teeth, I just suddenly thought, I wonder what it would be like if you had to do dentistry in space, in zero gravity. And I mentioned that to the hygienist and she's like, that's the kind of thing my husband thinks about. Just weird, off the wall. That's just the type of things I get curious about. I mean, because if you had to work inside somebody's mouth and you don't have gravity, they're floating around and you're floating around all at the same time, and it sounds like it'd be a big hassle. Anyway, weirdness, I know. On Thursday, I guess you could say it was kind of a throwback Thursday sort of thought. I was thinking about these shoes that I begged my grandparents to buy me when I was, 8 or 9. So it would have been early 80s. They were shoes called Zips. And Zips, according to the commercials, were guaranteed to make you run faster and jump higher. And that's what I was convinced I was able to do once I put them on. Zips shoes. Those commercials were hilarious. And they're all over YouTube, all the Zips shoes commercials. Somebody even mentioned that they might have gotten a lawsuit against them for claiming that you could jump higher and run faster. I don't know. Lawsuits like that are always weird. On Friday, Zachary confessed to me that he had accidentally, or out of frustration, had broken one of the Joycons, which are the remote control things for the Nintendo Switch. He brought that to me and I looked at it and thought, I don't think that's actually broken, because it had the little electronic connectors that fit into a slot and clip in. So I took the whole thing apart, put it all back together again, and it works. Kind of a nice surprise. I figured it was just, busted forever. On Friday, I was also thinking about, Zach's at an age right now where he's going into college, and I'm just remembering back when I was that age of the things that I didn't appreciate at the time because I didn't know any different. Like just being able to be at home and not have rent to pay and bills to pay and all that kind of thing. I didn't realize how much I would appreciate that, or wish I would have appreciated that later. Kind of a wish I knew then what I know now. Wish I didn't know then what I didn't know. No, that's a country western song. It kind of reminded me of Stephen Wright. One of his quotes was, "Experience is something you don't get until just after you need it." So yeah, you really needed that experience, but you didn't have it, and then you got it. Makes sense. And that brings us up to today, Saturday. This morning I went and did more video of another art class, another painting class of Farley's. We're getting better, we're dialing it in, the way that we want to do the audio and the video and that. It's far more challenging and complex than just sitting here talking to a single camera. When I want to capture both the canvas that he's working on and the palette at the same time, that takes a lot more forethought and planning to capture that well. And this evening, probably not too long after I get done recording this here, we're going to go as a family to the grocery store and get whatever kind of fun stuff we want to have for Thanksgiving and enjoy that as a family. So that wraps up week 47 of 2020. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.